Joint practices are done, so let's preview the upcoming preseason game between the Titans and the Vikings. And I'll tell you why I feel like Neo from the Matrix after the intro. Hey, welcome. Glad to have you. I'm your host, Bonafide, and this is from the cheap seats. So, I feel like Neo from the Matrix when he was on the rooftop and he finally figured out that he was the one. You know the scene. You know the one I'm talking about. Dodging the bullets. Because I feel like us as Titans fans dodged a major one after these joint practices that we had with the Vikings. So, let's get right into it. So, getting right into our game preview for the Titans versus the Vikings. So look, we had joint practices this week, and from all accounts and purposes, I couldn't get a clear view on what was going on. So it looks like the Titans beat reporters weren't allowed to record from the field, but fans could record from the field. So a lot of the view points that we got and vantage that we got were from Vikings fans that were in the stands. And I kept getting mixed reviews. Some Vikings people were saying that the Titans were just absolutely dominating on defense, and offense was doing the same. Then we get some Titans beat reporters were saying, hey, no, we were getting, there's a whole bunch of misses and things like that. So, anytime you have two sides of the story, the truth kind of lies in between. So that's what we saw here. So I'm going to say that, we had some good parts and we got some bad parts. But for the most part, hey, man, it seems like the defense, from the clips that I saw, there's a clip of Tier Tart out there just absolutely manhandling a freaking offensive lineman from the Vikings. And then how could is Fulton County Jail about to start appearing back? Because they said Christian Fulton was all over the place. He had a one-handed interception of Justin Jefferson, and pretty much he was sticking Justin Jefferson. So maybe Fulton County Jail is opening back up. We don't know. We gotta wait till the regular season. This is just preseason. It's preseason. Slow your roll. Slow your roll. All right. Now, as of this video being recorded, we don't know if the starters are playing. Across the league, though, a lot of the starters are getting at least 1 or 2 reps. Like we saw last week, Justin Fields got like a couple of series in there and was able to get some worked out with the ones. Pat Mahomes played some. A lot of these QB1s are playing. So I get why we're not playing a lot of our starters, but I do kind of want to see them gel together. So maybe the third game we get, a couple of series, a couple of snaps from our starters. But for right now, I don't think anybody's playing from that one. I don't know if the Vikings are going to play any of their starters either. So that's kind of toss up. I don't think we see Justin Jefferson or anybody like that in the game. So, especially they may, like I said, they may play some, but they may not. Maybe next week when we have our joint practices again, I think it's going to be in Tennessee. I think it might be against the Patriots too. I'll confirm, but I think it's against the Patriots. We may see them in that third preseason game since that's like the dress rehearsal for the season. So I really don't know. So we're kind of up in the air. We really don't know what's going on. So we dodged a huge bullet in the form of an injury to Treylon Burks. He was cooking on the first day of joint practices, catching a deep ball, and it seems like he caught a deep pass, came up with it, and then he just got up and he was hobbling. He couldn't really put any weight on it. They had to ultimately bring the cart out for him. I mean, it almost felt like the season was over before it started because we really didn't know. And then, you had every doctor or nurse, CNA or whatever that watches football trying to diagnose, everything that was going on in the field. Luckily, and I get why they were doing it. It's because, Vrabel doesn't really usually tell too much about injuries. But, like I said, late last night, on Thursday, we found out that it was just an LCL sprain and that Treylon, no structural damage. That he was just going to need a couple of weeks to get back himself. Like I said, he really wasn't playing in the preseason. Obviously, you want to build those reps, get that chemistry going on, especially, learning new spots on the wide receiver, things like that. But I think we're going to be okay. He was healthy. He can get back to being healthy, and then he'd be ready at the start of the season. Now, something that we didn't see, and that really wasn't talked about a lot until like at the end of practice, is that Will Levis left practice and didn't return. I think Jim Wyatt had a couple of tweets about it, and I think it's in his article that he wrote, that he noticed that Will Levis left. I think it was on a rollout to the right. He left, threw the pass, tried to come back to the huddle, left the huddle, went into the white tent, left the white tent, and went back inside and didn't get any more reps. So they asked Mike Vrabel about it. He gave him like the hockey version of an injury report, basically said it was a lower body injury. So basically lower body, maybe a hamstring, maybe a knee, maybe a calf. I don't know. We don't really have those details. Maybe they come out after you see this video or before the game. But right now, he's currently TBD. Really don't know what's happening with Levis. So you just gotta, stay glued to Twitter and the beat writers, and maybe somebody can break something before the game. Today is Friday, and the game is on Saturday. So, it might be tough for him to play, especially if he didn't come back to practice. So that leads me to my next thought. We're going to go off the assumption that Levis is not going to play this game, and he's not going to be able to go due to whatever injuries he's dealing with right now. And barring any snaps that we get from Tannehill, if even Tannehill plays any snaps, this very well might be the Malik show. And he might be the quarterback for the entire game. This would be his opportunity, to kind of show what he's capable of as being QB2 and backing up Ryan Tannehill for this season. So how he performs in this game is going to go a long way to either solidifying his spot on the 53-man roster. Not that I believe it was in question anyway, but just saying, hey, he's firmly entrenched as QB2 on this team. So he can really dead all that time. Now, it is unfortunate because I believe the competition between Levis and Willis was going really, really well, and it was helping both quarterbacks and ultimately helping the Titans in the long run, kind of with this QB battle. But now Will can't go. Malik Willis is really going to need to seize the opportunity at hand and kind of quiet the noise around the QB2 spot. He can literally sew this spot up in this game. Now, we can't see the same mistakes that we saw in preseason game 1. We can't see pre-snap penalties. We can't see indecision with the ball. We can't see him holding on to the ball anymore. We can't see any turnovers. He has to show that if put in the spot and asked to come in for either relief duty or mop-up duty or to start a few games because of injury, we need to be able to say, yeah, we're confident that Malik is good enough, keep us in some ball games and win some ball games. And on Saturday, if he is the only QB that's going, this is his time to shine. Now, moving to the last second before we wrap this video up, is who really needs this game? Obviously, preseason is make or break. I had a conversation on Twitter where, sometimes a good preseason appearance doesn't always equate to a roster spot. I think that, for the most part, that is true, but I think still there are some positions that are kind of still up in the air, and we may be able to see if we can get some clarity on these positions. Now it's being 2 preseason games out of 3. So who really needs this game? Now, we already talked about Malik Willis needing to seize the opportunity, but who else needs to step up in this thing? Now, given the Burks injury, and because we don't know how long he's going to be out, because Mike Vrabel didn't give a timetable for that, I still think the wide receiver, that fringe 4, 5, 6 wide receiver thing is open. These fringe wide receivers are going to have another chance to see what they can do on the field in all, in 2 phases of the game, offense and special teams. We're really going to have to see Dowell, Roberson, Jackson, McMath, or even Kinsey, because quiet as it's kept, McMath and Kinsey were kind of balling last game. We didn't really hear too much out of Jackson and Roberson outside of the couple of catches that they did have. So it's really anybody's game to make this roster on this one. And then also another spot that we need to look at, running back. Now, we just signed Jaquez Patrick. I think he played in the XFL, and now that he signed, running back snaps are going to be at a premium this game. This game and next game, and really, we already kind of said in our recap of the last game is that, I strongly believe that it's Henry, Spears, and Chestnut. But, Patrick has a good game this one. Chestnut may not have a good game. Hassan Haskins and Ward, I think, were dinged up both practices, so we didn't even see them. this week in practice. So they could be the odd men looking in. Odd man out in this particular regards when it comes to running backs. Can Jacquez Patrick step up and say, hey, I'm a big back. I can do both things that Chestnut can do, and I can add that, that same physicality that you get from King Henry with the same kind of shiftiness to be that 1-2 punch with Spears when he comes in. So definitely these two positions. I'm not even gonna talk about the offensive line. Reps. You just need more reps. In that regard. So wrapping up the video, we're not gonna hold you too much longer here. I think we pull out a win and beat the Vikings 21-10. It's preseason, so we ain't even really keeping track of the record or the wins, but them days is getting very, 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 very close. I think we see some players that we need to stand out. I think we continue to see the good work from Eric Garrer come through. I think we see, I think we kind of, after this game, we're really going to see some of those spots kind of get defined, saying, hey, yeah, I think these are going to be the people that are going to be either making the roster. Because you got this game and you got next game, and there is no more, then we got cut day. So, I think we pull out the win, but, it's a preseason game. We're going to glean as much as we can from there. So don't forget to tune into the next episode of Front of Cheap Seats, where we're going to give you a whole recap of the Vikings game. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Tell your fellow Titans fans that there is room in the section for them. So, thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed it. So, tighten up.